Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to tonight's quick look at a game that, spoilers, you'll probably see again in my top 20 games of the year video. That's a while off though, and I was thinking about this game again after I finished it sometime last month. So it's kind of messy, NeoCab is, in places. But I think its initial conceit, most of its characters, some of the emergent moments and themes of it are way more interesting than any of my actual issues with it are. So I thought I would do this quick look so I could just take a little more time with it than the 1 or 2 minutes that it's gonna get in that top 20 video. So, you know how a while back I streamed Valhalla by Sukeban, and I uploaded those VODs? Well, it was this amazing cyberpunk bartending visual novel, or visual novel-ish game. Well, NeoCab is very similar, in that it's a cyberpunk story about a service worker, and it's largely visual novel in genre with some agency, and all the weird characters she runs into, and it's also very, very queer, just like Valhalla. And you know what I've discovered over the years? That is my exact jam, because I also adore the Red Strings Club, and it is also extremely similar to that. The main character is even a bartender in that, and it's so good. I need more of this. More of these types of games. Gay, moody, cyberpunk visual novels framed around working in a service industry and interacting with a big cast of fascinating and complex characters. That. So instead of a bartender, our main character is a rideshare driver, and she's competing with Capra, which is this company who is a huge mega corporation. And they're like Facebook and Uber merged together. And Capra's fleet of autonomous vehicles are like the main thing she's competing against. But autonomous vehicles, in this case, done in a profoundly unethical way by just the dirt worst company. And so we start off about to repair an old relationship with a friend that we've had a falling out with. We're moving in with them, and we're moving to this brand new town, this big foreign city, with 73 coin in our pocket, which you'll see in context is not all that much. And we're gonna pick up our very first fare. So we have our cash. We can kind of see a history of our rides. These ones are all before the actual game. We have our journal, which is nice to look in every now and then. Also, it gives you some context for what this currency is and how much she spent and how much she has. Like how much things cost in this setting. Have our driver rating, which is actually kind of important. And our very first fare. This is I think the only one that we can pick up for now. But you get a little hint of the city itself and some of the characters that you can pick up later. Down here we have how much the ride is going to drain from our car's battery. And who it is we're picking up. And that's the conceit, that's like the loop of the game is... pick a customer up, have a conversation, get paid, pick another customer up, and do that till the end of the night. And you keep doing that until you have to fall asleep. Or you have to find somewhere to fall asleep. But they put even a really cool little wrinkle on that. So this is Liam. Yeah, let's just have the most generic small talk about the weather for now. Things will go directions. Also, look at our main character. I love her look. Like, it's such an aesthetic. Oh, thank God, yes, okay. So what has him... Oh, look at that! What has him a little nervous? Spent all day out there in the desert taking photos of the stars and the skyline. So he's a photographer. Thought he lost his memory card. That bastard's smaller than a grain of rice. Why do they keep making them smaller? My heart's racing. His accent was smooth and musical, but I couldn't quite place it. Definitely not Southern California. Ah, so Lena. Lena is our protagonist, our driver. And the main reason why we picked Liam up was just because we're on our way into town, and he was on our way. And the thing that you have to realize about this universe is that things like Neocab are not the norm anymore. Capra has very much displaced drivers like Lena. So yeah, let's say we are nervous about moving to a new town. Just never been here before. We learn that this place is called Automation City. And that kind of gives the game away on what one of several main themes of the game is. And it's the displacement of workers by automation. Photographer, or trying to be. I'm taking a year off from my real job to see what I can make happen. So he's taking a big risk pursuing his creative passion away from his day job. A year to travel and take pictures. That's the dream. I can relate to that. I'm also a photographer. And I think that it would be really cool to be able to make that at least one of my gigs. They broke up after a screaming fight in Milan. She came back with a half-finished clay figure of herself. She always loved playing the muse. Thinking about her friend that she is moving in with, or her partner, or their relationship and their past is a bit complicated. And we'll get to that. I always forget how easy it is to spill your secrets when you're only making eye contact with the road in front of you. Kind of a highway hypnosis. He moves all over the place, sort of fading in and out of different friend groups and maintaining most of my relationships online. Hell yeah. Yeah. There are so many things about this game that are just immediately relatable. And low-key. I just realized that my life isn't as good without her in it. I love that. Sometimes it's the only thing that makes sense. So while you're getting the keys to your new place tonight, where is he going to be? I'll probably be out snapping pictures at Capra, or of Capra Tower. I hope you get some good shots, or doing a cover shoot for a multinational monster magazine. Kind of the snippy response. Whoa, it's just a beautiful building. Yeah, you can afford beautiful buildings when you have a monopoly, or sure, I've heard it's very impressive. This is interesting because this is our first sign that your emotional state affects which options you can choose, and because we chose to be a little bit snippy before, that put us in a certain headspace. I don't always think this system works, or at least it doesn't always work well, and the way this game gamifies emotional states, I also think is a little sloppy or a little messy, and that's kind of what I was alluding to before. That's one of my problems with the game. But again, I think some of the directions that this game goes, and most of the characters, and a lot of the mood and art, and so many other things about it are just interesting in ways that makes me not mind stuff like this. And this isn't even the worst example of it, so this isn't even that bad. But yeah, your emotional state affects which options you can choose. So we can't... my hands tightened on the steering wheel. I had nothing good to say about Capra. We've kind of put ourselves on a path here. You can afford a beautiful building when you have a monopoly over the entire tech sector. That's Capra, the spoils of selling out humanity. The name carried so much baggage for me. My first driving gig, her only income stream, before they replaced me and every other driver with autocars, soulless capsules of glass and plastic. But those things don't need health insurance. Tensed up just seeing their logo, which was all over the place. Nearly every passing car was one of theirs. Crawling our streets, covered in sensors, collecting data on everything and everyone. Yeah, so this fusion, this hellish fusion of all of the worst things about Google and Uber put together. And Facebook at that. Yeah, just this hellish trifecta. Also refer to their customer as a PAX. My 4.9 driver rating definitely didn't want me to push him. So this is also introducing one of the most interesting things about the game, which is that you have to be, or rather, you don't have to be, but you are strongly coerced mechanically into being diplomatic with customers. And there's a really, really good example later. Very small spoilers. But as far as gameplay goes, it's mostly about responses and like managing your mood and your funds by picking fares up and the power of your car. Yeah, I don't want to actually get into it because I want to preserve my rating and not raise his hackles. But like, those things all come together in a cool way because you have to use power to get to fares and to take them places, and to drive to motels or like what are basically Airbnbs, and even charging stations. You still have to drive to them, and that itself takes it takes power, and that all costs money. It costs money to get around, basically, so you have to make more than you're spending. And that's not necessarily easy. I think I'm just stressed. There are times where they really kind of mess with you and make you live paycheck to paycheck. But that's not the only thing here. Like, in dialogue with these characters, you have to watch what you say sometimes. You can't always speak honestly. You have to speak deceptively sometimes. Because sometimes what you say will shift the tone of a conversation and, as you saw, put you on a certain emotional path that you might not be able to veer out of easily. And also because if you offend the customer, they can leave you a low rating, which endangers your livelihood because your account with Neocab gets shut down if you maintain a low rating for long enough. So sometimes, even if the customer sucks, you just have to grin and bear it in like how you talk to them. This is a small spoiler for later, but there's this dude who vomits in your car. And he's drunk, and he won't admit to it. He won't cop to it. And he is also insanely pedantic and obnoxious and argumentative about it. And he sucks. I hated him. And I really laid into him over this. And I argued with him like incessantly about how he threw up, and he ended up just giving me a 1-star in this obnoxious little mini review. And I hate him, but this moment is so strong. So what are we going to think about here? I thought about Savvy, which is her former friend and possibly partner, and someone who she definitely seems to, if they weren't partners in the past, she definitely seems romantically attracted to her now. And that's who we're moving to this new city to move in with. So yeah, let's think about Savvy. I was making the change and I was ready. Here I am, Savvy. It's real, I did it. I pulled up to Liam's destination, modest hotel, nice, but it had an art to it. And we'll see him off. Liam will be a recurring character. Most of the customers you run into can recur, although you do have almost total agency in who you pick up. There are a couple where you're railroaded into picking up certain fares for the plot, but that's pretty rare usually. So actually, it would be worth replaying this just to talk to customers more who you didn't talk to that much the first time around. There were definitely a bunch of fares I missed out on my first playthrough, just by nature of like who I chose and when, who I wanted to have more conversations with. There were some people I only talked to once, and I definitely had the option to talk to them again by just picking their fares up. Serendipitous ride with a spirited driver. Welcome to LO. Hey, and we have a perfect 5-star rating. Let's see if we can keep it that way. And we made 6 coins, almost 7. Great. But we have a low battery in our car. And we're getting a text. Look at her design! What's good, Lena? What's? Guess where I am. So we're gonna pick her up in a second. Yeah, we're in LO. These are weird. These, like, selfie gifts. Barely brought anything. We packed really light. Moving in is gonna take 2 seconds. Oh shit. I forgot I didn't lock my chair in place, so it just flew back when I adjusted myself. Wait, actually, come pick me up. Sending you a pin. So we're gonna meet Savvy. And it's gonna be a heartfelt reunion. My rave fave. It's whatever. It's a dumb phrase. How long had it been? 6 months? No. A year? Some days it was easy to feel like she was still around because everywhere I went in Cactus Flats was soaked through with memories. Memories. Most days, that just made me miss her even more. Nobody gets me like she does. Like, she really gets me. Being around her made me feel more like myself. Maybe it just made me like it more. I saw her up ahead and my stomach flipped. It's always just someone's face sliding into the frame. L Bunny. Savviest. Their nicknames are... I hate them. I hate them. I don't even know where to start. This is such a look, though. Ah, God. Thinking back, all the character designs rock, and I really want to have a conversation with one character in particular before we end this quick look. Because she is one of my favorite characters. Not Savvy. Not you. Oh, we have to. Being this close to Capra HQ freaks me out. So we also learned that she is not a fan of Capra either. It was downtown and it's a giant eyesore. That we can use as a landmark. In a city that we are entirely new to. Also, we get to preserve this moody aesthetic because all of our drives take place at night. Like, for some reason, she is a nocturnal rideshare driver, or neocab driver. Heat rushed into my cheeks. Was I turning red? Aw, she's blushing. Called her selfish and cried until I couldn't breathe. Yeah, that took a turn, huh? What have you been up to? This is one of those cases where we don't have to be diplomatic at all. Except we still sort of do. Because we don't want to make the vibe in the car weird, especially for this being our first reunion since a year ago. You don't want to immediately go and make it weird and dredge up the past. Or do you? Maybe you think that's more interesting. But it is going to give this whole conversation an entirely different mood. Compared to perfect family time, social activism, I missed that because... Ooh, this is on auto progress, which usually is not too bad. Can't believe we're back in your old steery. This thing knows all my secrets. And you know I love retro as much as the next girl, but... Would you mind parking it a little down the street from my place? So that's weird. People would get really weird if they thought I was pro-car. It's just a big issue in my work right now. Are you anti-car? So this is an interesting little slice of this culture. We don't have to get into it, right? Not get into a fight right away sounded good to me. So I drop it, or Lena drops it. But you know that's going to be a big plot point for later. They call so much attention to it. And she has a present for us. Look at her necklace, by the way. The color changed. It was yellow before, now it's a cool green. Oh, it is also acting as a light source. You can see the highlights on her hair. It was a caterpillar. Caberpibbers! I'm about to go and run and get Pibby. I'm doing it. You cannot stop me. I've done it. Literally cannot be stopped. I'm too powerful. As is Pibby. Whoops. I did not get her a gift. Pibby also likes Neocab because this game is cool. And tightened to a snug fit around my wrist. So it's some kind of bracelet that glows. And now we have a new UI element in the bottom left. This color wheel that was down there for a moment, now faded out. So what is this? It's a feel grid. It's a 6th gen biofeedback device. Color and intensity show your mood, basically. So it's a mood ring, more or less. But actually a thing. Like, it does what a mood ring is supposed to do. I've got the necklace edition, so that's what that is. Now we can both have total awareness of our emotional well-being, you know, to take care of each other and all that junk. This is the most uncomfortable possible situation to me. Is literally wearing your heart on your sleeve, or in this case, your wrist. Oh yeah, I forgot that line is in there. It sounds like a mood ring. It totally is, except it actually works. Everything we feel is because our brain has triggered some chemical to flood our system, right? So this is a little sensor that reads all the molecules as they go surfing through your tubes. I can't remember if she oohs at the see a move towards red, which means you got a little freaked out. I don't know if she means her tubes as in her veins and thinks that analogy is gross, or the idea of everybody being able to see your exact emotional state at all times is gross. Like, philosophically gross. Also, so we have 4 colors, basically, that we boil our emotions down into, which is another thing that I kind of don't really dig, and it feels a little messy in kind of the messages it ends up saying later on in the game. And then also, like, they do a weird thing where they frame it as like, oh, there's no such thing as a bad emotion, they're all valid depending on the situation, but then they also frame half of them as good and half of them as positive and half of them as negative, which is a little sloppy. I'm trying to work on my emotional superpowers, just so you know. Or, nah, I've been a little all over the place. Oh, that puts us a little closer to this neutral point, but we've gone from the good yellow zone a little towards the red, which is anxiety. 2 blue, you probably need to take a break. 2 red, then you gotta stand up for yourself. Tell that to my star rating. So now we have this fertile ground for conflict between two of our needs, or 2 of our mechanics, to put it in the game's terms. We're gonna have this conflict between being like emotionally honest and trying to be diplomatic. And this has made us upset. Even trying to remember it like that. Hey, we missed her, so we went back to the yellow. See, it's kind of weird the way this boils down, like, the complexity of human emotion into a pretty simple mechanic. Why would I be pissed? It's not a big deal, but the way we fought when I left. She mad about it. I wasn't trying to hurt you. Or rather, she's, incensed in some way by it. I really don't want to upset anyone. You do feel things a lot, actually. It's like pulsing now, so it's an intense feeling. It's kind of beautiful. But bottling all that up doesn't make it go away. Yeah, our needs are in conflict. And this is just... The thing about this is... It's a little sloppy if you take it too literally, but just as a way of visualizing this conflict, it works a little bit. The idea of this technology still makes me profoundly uncomfortable. I didn't want to risk making her mad. The weight on my chest would pass. So yeah, like, a lot of the game is a commentary upon how we go about choosing our words and the intentions behind our speech. So we can't pick this because we don't want to risk making her mad. And that's the headspace we're in. I think if you steer the conversation a different way, you can get to a different emotional state. Emotions, like David Cage. On the feel grid, you can actually pick that. So, how do we get to your... Whoops. I actually didn't mean to pick I'm starving, but it gets us where we need to be. She immediately asks us to make a pit stop. I need you to... It's not a pit stop. In fact, it's this guy, and trust me, it's kind of a huge mess. Drop me off somewhere. Actually, I'd like to call it a night. No, she's gonna insist. I kind of fucked up at work, and I've just gotta fix it before shit comes down on my head. Still really vague about where she works, huh? And she knew that she had to do this before sending the text and promising that we'd go back to her apartment and have fun. But she says that she just forgot, so we kind of have to take her word for it. Also, look at her feel grid at this point. And the lack of color. Just gotta do things before it blows up. We don't have to start looking for a cheaper place. If we don't, I'm gonna have to start looking for a cheaper place. Didn't sound like she was kidding. Never heard her take any job so seriously before or hint at money problems. Maybe we'd have more in common this time around, too. That's a really good, subtle line, implying that they've had issues before specifically because of some kind of class divide. Like, she's always come from a place where she's had money, whereas Lena has always been kind of in this paycheck to paycheck position. Sounds great. See, you aren't missing anything, trust me. Has been dying to get into this club, and tonight I can actually make it happen. So instead of going back to her place, knowing full well that Lena does not have a roof over her head because she's moving to this new town specifically to live with her, she's gonna drop someone from work off and go to a club. You're going to a club right now, so we're gonna react to that indignantly. It's this incredible DJ who only plays secret shows. Oh, and now she's now offered to get us on the list. It would be nice to just hang out with you. How long have you been with him? Cool, okay, he says he'll text you the deets soon. Just gotta do this thing, then you should head over. Kinfolk. I'll text you in like an hour tops, then come meet us. Oh, see you soon, roomie. Pick up a cute packs next. What was this place? Capricars buzzed around me like I was inside some kind of nest. People inside gave my car a definite look from behind their tinted windows. I wasn't supposed to be here, so we're in that neutral space again. Maybe I misjudged our friendship I mean, ooh, yeah. This is the less extreme answer, or choice. It was just a detour, no big deal. Things just had a way of being spontaneous with her, with Savvy. I was never as happy as I'd been when we were together. So we can pick up one more fare, and then, oh no, we don't want to learn that much about the field grid, because I don't care about it that much, like the finer details of it. Whoops, nope. Didn't realize that would bring us back to that. Let's pick up one more customer, and hopefully, we can recharge too, because we actually have to. This is going to be $132 a bar. Which is, in this context, a little bit steep. So, the prices will fluctuate, especially from charging station to charging station. We'll get full charge, though. Sometimes it's much higher, and sometimes it's much lower. Is she? Yes, she is. Here we go. Gideon DeKalb. Her profile on Neocab reads, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight with you, then you win. And she has the anarchy symbol as her avatar. Oh, I can't wait for this one. This is my favorite character. Oh, she's such a deep cut. Someone at this place rode Neocab? So this is like some high society district and building she's walking up to. Short figure with some bulk. Cameras went wild for her. Their flashes reflected hard metal skin. She screamed back into the blaze and flipped them the bird. Well, please let her be a robot. Nope! Nope at all! Pig fundraiser. The only way I'm going to another pig fundraiser if it's for an actual pig. She is 13. You're not gonna catch me dead at a charity ball for cops ever again. What is she wearing? Oh god, don't make me talk about it. Who is this kid? Famous? Super rich? Should I be calling her ma'am? Rough night, ma'am? Don't call me ma'am, oh my god. What are you trying to do to me? So why were you at a charity ball for cops? Okay, technically it wasn't for cops, but they were hosting it or whatever. Just one more corrupt cog in the machine to pass Sophie's Law. Okay, what is Sophie's Law? Really sorry to bring up Sophie's Law to you. To you, specifically. We can press further, but also, let's learn more about Sophie's Law, because she doesn't want to seem to talk about her metal exosuit. Capra wants to own everything and everyone, right? So anyway we go, anything, anywhere we go, everything we say, etc. Sophie's Law gets them most of the way there. It outlaws human drivers within LO, auto cars only, you know, to keep us safe. The referendum is up for a vote any day now. They set up a fake charity to hide all the political donations. And who's running it? Drumroll please, my fascist mother. And the cops are for that? Or are you for that? Are you listening to anything I'm saying? Why would any thinking person be for something that hands a monopoly to an unregulated... I misread that very badly, I'm sorry. Oh, dude, it's just a lot. I like this part. This kid was a lot. Did you really not know about it? So Sophie Lemieux was a dancer with the LO Ballet. Her Primo Ballerino account had like 140 million subscribers. She was killed in a car attack about a month ago. Now she has 200 million subscribers. Some rando drove an old Steery straight into a crowd downtown, killed her and like a bunch of other people. What's wrong with a person like that? Every time it happens, I try to understand it. I don't know if I ever will. Is that why I'm seeing so many cops? Oh, definitely. They'll use any excuse to militarize this city. Especially for some pretty dead white woman, right? Anyway, the vote is super split. It could tip either way if that's any consolation. So, I have so much to say about Gideon. Capra buzzed by me. They would be the only show in town. How else would people get around the city? So every 500 coin a plate dinner with the vote going down, and just dinner counts with the vote going down soon. Yancey hates me but says now I'm old enough to be expected at DeKalb events. My obligation as a scion. I'm a scion. What is a scion? You might wonder. I had the gross feeling this kid could buy and sell me, and that maybe our great-grandparents would have. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said it. This is so embarrassing to talk about. People look at you weird when you have money. So here is what I love about Gideon. So there's the initial mystery of what the fuck is that suit? And that's really compelling. And then that is met with learning that she has some kind of deep burning shame about it. And that is also intriguing, and it makes you want to learn more about her. And then there's this third thing that comes along, which is that she is deeply woke, but also she's 13, and she's a 13-year-old privileged white girl who comes from money and high society and lives literally in like a metal shell, which is to say she lives in a bubble that alienates her from everyone around her. So it's not that it's performative, it's that it rings insincere coming from her, even if she believes what she's saying fully. She doesn't have like a lived experience where where what she's saying rings sincere, but she does believe in it, so she can get to a point where like she can actually be like a good ally or something, or she could be a good anti-fascist. Like, she has the framework there. She doesn't have like life experience though, and that's conveyed in this next thing that we learn about her, which she's complaining about her problems being rich to somebody who works paycheck to paycheck in Lena. And that sets up the most interesting dynamic for where this conversation can go. I love this. This is so good. Oh, this is really, really strong stuff. Sounds like a tough life. Hey, I'm super aware of privilege and all that, and I hate it. I would way rather not have any money and just be normal. Destroy the rich, that's what I think. Tear it all down. It sounds a little like slogans, but it's all in good faith is the thing. I liked where she was coming from, but she had a lot to learn. That's the thing. That's the best summation of this character and why I like her. And again, a small spoiler, but she goes in some really good directions that make me very happy. Because this kid fucking rocks. Fuck off, white supremacist, is what she said at the ball. Did you really say that? Hell yeah. Like, fuck yeah. And it might be a case of like, fake it until you make it. Did you know that institutions can be racist? Sorry, of course you do. I don't have to tell you how bad the LOPD is for people of color. No, but I love to learn about racism from rich white teens. I let that one go. Moves us back to a neutral headspace. It's very fascist. So you're against everything your mom stands for? Was she a bit controlling as a parent? Wait, how'd you know? You're dressed in a pink Iron Maiden. Of course you couldn't just not mention it. Okay, so this is a Kinder mech. It's the Michelle model, which they make especially for girls. Yancey would want you to know that it's the Slimline model. I can't even talk about that. Yancey is your mom? Biological mom. Bio mom. If you're talking about who raised me, yeah. An aunt. I've always pictured Maya Angelou's daughter as a rich white robot. What does Yancey do? This is the least judgmental response. She doesn't do anything. My great-grandfather had a factory that made car parts. You definitely have something in this car that's a DeKalb part. All Yancey does is throw away his money, so they are generationally wealthy. At least your suit's a cute color. Never heard of a Kinder mech, so she tells us more about it. Not surprised, it's super expensive. Ooh! Unintentional, probably, but it's super condescending. I'm not out here on the poverty line, Gideon. Nah, I have nothing to say to that. Because again, we have to be diplomatic too, because it's a fair. And also, because I want to learn more and not get her to clam up, which is a thing that you have to kind of be wary of. She got it, so it happened again. Like what happens to anybody twice. Like that happens to anybody twice. I wouldn't even feel it. So she can't be harmed. There must be some cool things about it, or can you take it off? She is locked into this thing until she's 18. That's when you're officially old enough to make your own decisions, apparently. How is that legal? How? This is what I've been saying my whole life. I tried getting emancipated, you know? But the courts in this country are terrified of Yancey. It's so sick and fascist. What does it feel like? It's torture. She always knows where I am. She can check it whenever she wants. There's a camera in here. She can see what I'm looking at. I tried to pierce my ears once and my arms locked in place. I even tried to put this fuck fascism sticker on it. And it peeled right off the chassis. There's a content filter. So this is a lot. This is a lot of interesting directions this has gone now that we've picked this thread back up and learned about the Kinder mech she's shelled in. And just how horrible and dystopian it is. The content filter, the arms locking in place if her mom deems it so. The fact that she is strapped into this until 18. But then this, we're going back to this thread too. How do you even know what a fascist is? Or you're pretty worried about fascists for a 13-year-old. What about to go to sleep? I want to go on down this road though. Are you not? Which is a good point, and I'm not 13, by the way. I'm 14. Oh, good. So we can get back to this. You must be able to take it off to sleep at least. Nope. She sleeps in it. Which is horrendous, and it brings up so many questions. Oh, man. Yeah, that's pretty extreme. It's the most extreme response. It's more extreme than that really goofy Black Mirror episode. With the mom putting a chip in her kid's brain that is a real-time content filter. And yet, this is already way more interesting than that because it's attached to a way more interesting character. Isn't your mom worried about you? Why do you care? For the last few minutes, the streets have gotten cleaner, the buildings around us have gotten taller, and the people? Actually, there wasn't a soul in sight. It's kind of alien. Deserted. We pulled up to a high-rise with a titanium gate etched with lions. Hey Athena, open gate. The lights on her suit pulsed and the gate creaked open. What's with the lions? Oh, look at this. I just got a message from Yancey. Thank you, at least for going home and not to your aunt's or God knows where. We'll talk in the morning. In the meantime, think about your political opinions. You'll be more persuasive using reasoned arguments rather than obscene outbursts. But what about my civility? It's bullshit, right? Stay angry, Gideon. We get to mentor this little anti-fascist in training, and it rocks! I love it. Anger is the only thing they're really afraid of. Well-behaved women rarely make history. I think your passion is what the world needs. All good responses. So important, I'm going to tell everyone I know to vote no on Sophie's Law this week. Hell yes. Maybe we can make a difference. Metal-tipped fingers danced on the door handle. I gotta say, I don't get to talk to many people who treat me like a person. And not a kid. So that's also where the chip on her shoulder is coming from. People talking down to her because she is a child. And that's where a lot of her anger with the world and her alienation from it stems from. Which is such a perfect encapsulation of what it feels like to be 14 years old. Oh, God. See what I mean when I say, like, there are definitely some pretty noticeable flaws and things that aren't super good about this game. But none of those flaws are nearly as interesting as stuff like this. Awesome, she's a great driver, so interesting to talk to, really gets it. 5 stars. We made a decent amount of money. So the available balance that we have seems pretty high for the time being. But then you have to remember that until Savvy gives us a place to stay, we're essentially homeless. So if we can't meet back up with Savvy to get the keys to the apartment tonight, we have to find a motel or a hotel. So we also have to charge the car, so we have expenses. Oh, and look who this is. Somebody just got in the car. And her design rocks! Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot, because I think they're pretty subtle about it. And they don't use their pronouns that often, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they do use they-them pronouns. Your field grade state colors your choices, sometimes adding new options and sometimes disabling them. Yeah, we've learned about that. What are you doing in my car? We're actually not going to take this fare or this drive into Plot Town. We're going to end it for now. This game's really interesting. Check it out. It's like 3 hours, but it's also really interesting and really cheap. And I think everybody should check it. Check it out. Oh man. It is worth everyone's time. I will say that much. Even if you don't end up liking it, it's worth giving a chance. I dig this. Thank you all for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one. Try to combine one and night. Have a good one, y'all.